In preparation for this talk, I wrote 27 different openings. What they all had in common was that they were supposed to get you excited, to welcome more improvisation into your lives. Hated every single one of them. The more I scripted, the less satisfied I became, and then it hit me. Isn't it strange to deliver a perfectly crafted, rehearsed story when I want to get you excited about the beauty of improvisation? I mean, it completely defeats the point, right? So I was stuck. And what do we do when we're stuck? We ditch the script and we improvise. And I want to invite all of you to a musical improvisation right now. Yeah, if that makes you feel anxious, don't sweat. You're not by yourself. I have also never conducted a 300-people choir before, but I heard some really great voices just now before the break. So let's just see where this goes, okay? It would be great if you could sing with me. For most gentlemen in the room, it's going to be this note. Ooh, and for most ladies in the room, it's going to be this note. It's like a choir rehearsal, right? If you ever been to a choir. Could you join me on an ooh? Ooh. Keep it going. If you need to breathe, don't forget to breathe, and then come back in again, but let's make sure we as a choir keep it going. And it's not so much about the right notes, it's much more about connecting with the room, yeah? Keep it going. Now when I do this movement, I want us to go up one note. With this movement, go down one note, okay? This is great, beautiful. Okay, you keep it going, and I'm going to improvise with you. Wow. Beautiful. Thank you so much in joining me. This is the power of improvisation, what we just experienced. And if you like what you're feeling, then I have good news for you, because you can have this sensation in the rest of your life as well. How do I know this? I'm a jazz pianist, and improvisation is how I make a living. Every time I step on stage, you'd be surprised to know that whatever happens up here, a lot of that has never happened before, and a lot of it will never happen again. This is what jazz is all about. It is ever-changing and unpredictable. Each evening holds its own stories, its own surprises, and its very own energy. This can be terrifying. It's scary enough to hop on a stage if you know what will happen, so imagine you have no idea. At the same time, it is the most magical feeling of freedom that I have ever experienced. And I truly believe that the way we feel as improvisers is something that everybody can experience in their own life. So the question is, how can you become an improviser? Actually, it's a very simple two-step process. Step number 1, we learn the rules. Step number 2, we fuck the rules. Simple, right? In other words, first we prepare and then we improvise. Now, preparation means a lot of different things for different people in different situations. What it could mean is that we acquire a solid set of skills to help us tackle whatever task we have in front of us comfortably. I learned this the hard way when I was 21 and I decided that I really wanted to live in Barcelona for a couple of months, so I applied for an internship. The interview went great. When the interviewer asked me if I spoke Spanish, I put on my best Spanish accent and said, "Sí, claro." And when he asked me if I had worked in Spanish before, I said, "Sí, mucho." And off I flew to Barcelona, really. Little did they know that I had no idea what I was doing, And little did I know that I was going to spend 6 hours a day on the phone as a customer service representative, handling customer service complaints in Spanish. And let me tell you, the clients were happier before they called me than after. In order to make all of this work, I had to acquire a new skill. I had to learn Spanish. I had to learn a couple of ground rules first. I needed some preparation, right? And this is what I did. I studied Spanish every night after work before meeting my friends. Now, studying a language usually means that we do it step by step, right? We start with an individual word, and then we move on to idiomatic phrases, syntax, and grammatical rules. Now, I want you to think of jazz improvisation as a language. The way jazz musicians get ready to speak resembles this process, just that we might start with a short melody instead of a word. Now, this melody could be anything, really, but since I'm feeling adventurous today, let's use this one. The movie fans here. Let's give it a bit of context. There it is, right? Now, I could decide to start a musical phrase with this melody, just like I would start a sentence with a specific word. I could also decide to play the same melody over and over again. And every time I play it, I'm going to change it up just a little bit. Just like I would conjugate a verb. I could also decide to speak faster, like with any other language. And you know, sometimes what we forget is that the best idea is to not say anything, but just listen to the groove around us. Do you remember the last time when you learned a new language? Oh, wow. There's a lot of joy and also a lot of sorrow here. You know, when you signed up for this weekly French class and you really put in the effort, you studied your vocabulary, you regularly met up with this cute French guy to practice your knowledge in the field, and you even scored a year-long streak on Duolingo. That's the new currency in languages. And finally, you felt ready. You felt ready to book that trip to Paris. Because you want to visit your good old friend Hélène. And as you stroll through the little streets of Montmartre, you see this cute cafe. You enter, the air smells of freshly baked croissants. There's accordion music playing in the background, and you're happy. You are genuinely happy because you made it. You're there, and it's going to happen today. You are going to order your first café au lait in French. And while you wait in line, you go over your order again and again and again. Je voudrais un café au lait avec du lait d'illusion. Je voudrais un café au lait avec du lait d'illusion. Right? Because you want your order to be perfect. It needs to be perfect. And by the time you're first in line, you give Hélène a little push towards the counter and you wait outside. In this instant, your whole world crumbles. In the classroom, you had successfully ordered more cups of imaginary coffee than you could ever drink, and now this. What a waste of time, what a waste of money. You are never gonna get it, and you hate Paris anyway. The reason I'm telling you this is because in a lot of areas of life, many people get stuck with the preparation part, the part where they learn the rules. They get ready, and then they get readier, and then they get readiest, and by then, the opportunity has passed and they end up right where they started, which I call the zone of perpetual readiness. You guys were ready to order that coffee in France, right? You just didn't go for it. So you're back in your Airbnb that night, still upset about what happened. And to ease the pain, you decide to go for drinks with Hélène. In the bar, you're loosening up, and your coffee incident doesn't seem so terrible anymore. And after the second glass of Chardonnay, you casually turn around to the bartender and you go, Je voudrais commencer le meilleur vin blanc que ce bar propose pour mon ami et moi, s'il vous plaît. And you're shocked. You're shocked because you have just taken the first bold step in fucking the rules. And you are doing so by letting go of their conscious application in this very moment. Perhaps with the help of a glass wine or two, but still. You're letting yourself be present and your instincts are taken over. And this is happening spontaneously in the heat of the moment. Or in other words, you're improvising. And this doesn't only happen when we speak a foreign language. All of you are improvisers every single day. Now back to the bandstand. When we play, we must let go. And we must let intuition guide us through the music. And we can do this because we've studied the material. We learned the language. It is in us. Now relying on something we already know, this is the craft of our profession and it makes us functional performers. Creating something truly innovative, that's the art. And you know, there's songs out there that I've played hundreds and hundreds of times. And the reason why I still don't get bored playing them is because every time I challenge myself to find a new musical path through the music, one that I haven't been on before. I want to surprise myself, and I want to be able to follow my ears to wherever they suggest to go, even if this means to break free from musical conventions. In order to create true art, I need to be ready to leave my comfort zone over and over again. This requires a lot of trust in ourselves. Imagine hundreds of eyes, or even thousands of eyes, staring at you, right? Or maybe just a dozen if you're in front of your average jazz audience, but you get the idea. We need to trust that we won't draw a blank. Trust that we'll be able to say something fresh and meaningful. Every time I step on stage, I will need to trust that whatever I'm bringing on stage that day is enough, that I'm enough. And you will need to trust that whatever you're bringing to your role as a father, a mother, a TED organizer, a sound engineer, that this is enough, that you are enough, right? And you know, the funny thing is, the challenge with improvised music is that we never really know what's coming at us. So technically, we are never fully prepared. The beauty with improvised music, on the other hand, is that there is no predetermined outcome of what needs to happen. So actually, we're always prepared, right? Because we can always say something. And this is the secret ingredient. Come prepared and believe in yourself, but leave your expectations at the door and leave your ego right with them. Allow yourself to be present so you can respond to the current moment. This way, we can serve the music authentically. The second we think about what we could play, or even worse, what we should have played, that's when we're going to lose connection. Okay, so we're on stage and we are playing our heart out. Intuition is taking over. We're flying through the tune and we risk a quick glance into the audience and we freeze. Because we stare into the expectant eyes of everybody who has ever mattered to us, including our piano teacher from 3rd grade, our grandma, and Oscar, our inner critic, is also right there. Today is the real deal. But what if we mess it up? What if we make a mistake? Based on its nature, improvisation trades perfection for flexibility and contextual fit. This necessarily means that at some point, we will make a mistake. And injustice could mean that we unintentionally play a note that sounds funny. Let me demonstrate this. Now, this is a musical color that's very pleasing for the ear, right? But what if something like this happens? It sounds terrible, this note, right? It's not supposed to be here. So let's see what we can do with it. What I want to show you with this musical example is that in jazz, there are no mistakes, only opportunities to explore. If we accept anything that happens as part of our reality right now without judgment, we can move on and turn it into something of value, which in this case was the introduction of a new sound. A jazz musician welcomes what others might deem a mistake with curiosity, and he uses it as a source for inspiration. A jazz musician doesn't only accept an uncertain environment, he embraces it. Okay, so now you're asking yourselves, what is all this jazz about? Jazz isn't just a musical genre. It's a philosophy for life, and I'm inviting you to unleash your inner jazz musician. In the coming days, take a moment to improvise. Take a different route to work. Say yes to something that you'd usually say no to, or spend a whole day without a plan. Embrace the unknown and see what happens, even if it's just for a moment. Believe in yourself and trust all your skills and experiences you've previously had. And at the same time, and that one is important, be ready to make mistakes. What you will gain is a tremendous amount of freedom in the things you choose to do and how you do them. And the best part is, if we expose ourselves to the unknown over and over again, we learn to navigate the unpredictable. And we don't only do this by acquiring new skills, but by preparing ourselves to be unprepared. And this is what it's all about. Improvisation is how I ended up on this stage tonight. Where is it going to take you? Thank you.